Emad, just do it, Kiyaei.
Exactly. Thank you.
Raised in South Africa, you were head of the Iranian-American
American-Iranian Council. I'm the director there.
in New York, and now you're a research fellow for strategic intelligence.
Not intelligence. It's the science and global security. It's within the Woodrow Wilson School of International Public Affairs at Princeton University.
Right, that's where I saw you.
And it deals a lot with security issues that are battling the world, and of course right now the issue of nuclear proliferation in the Middle East, specifically on Iran, is quite a hot topic. And we also deal with working on U.S. Iran relations. How do we bring these two relations that have been marred by like 34 years of hostilities since the Islamic Revolution in '79? How do we bring these two countries together? Two very important countries. I mean, Iran is a regional power in the Middle East. U.S. has an increasing role in the Middle East in every single country for its own strategic interests, maybe energy or security for Israel, and so forth. So Iran will play a major factor no matter what in the near future. And so if we can bring these two countries closer together and make them focus on their areas of common interest, then hopefully we can have all of us visit Tehran in the near future. You never know.
Well, it's easier said than done because, as you know, we have politics in both countries. Who can deliver what they say? Who can get through the political clutter?
Well, this is the irony between Iran and U.S. They actually have very similar division of power, let's say. So, for example, in Iran, the supreme leader has been always been sort of like coined as the one who's in power, but yet he does not vet every single power in his hands. There's also division of the judiciary, the parliament, there is the cabinet, the presidency's office, and other little councils which also have very specific roles in how the country is run. So, in a sense, do we speak to Obama or do we go through Congress?
Do you wait for the elections?
Or do we wait for elections? Or do we wait for congressional elections? Or do we wait for the next elections? So if we're going to go with a cycle of elections, this may be a problem. We'll never get anywhere. So there's going to be a cycle that we keep going into. However, what is very common trend between the two countries in the past 34 years has been that they focus 99% of the time on areas that they have differences, areas of animosity. They may have differences on what is a terrorist, what's a freedom fighter, what's the role of Iran in Iraq or Afghanistan, what's the issue of supporting Hamas or Hezbollah, and the issues will go on. But there's also the fact that the reason why Afghanistan in the first place was won by the US and so swiftly was because Iran in 2001, 2002, 2003 gave US its sort of assistance in terms of getting their main asset, which was the Northern Alliance.
Yeah, well, it's in their interest too.
Of course.
They even helped rescue some secretly American pilots who went down.
Definitely. Why? Because look at it this way. Actually, we, the Iranians, are very thankful to the US government for getting rid of the two most formidable adversaries of Iran in the region. Number one was Taliban, headed and controlled by Al-Qaeda, which was supported by Pakistan and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
boom, they're out.
Saudi money and Pakistani
intelligence. So, good. You got rid of Taliban first, thank you very much. Then you come and Saddam Hussein, who fought an 8-year bloody war with us, who waged a war at us, used chemical weapons. It killed almost 1 million people on both sides. The longest war of the 20th century. And so when we look at this events, we can see that, well, you just got rid of Saddam for us, our biggest regional threat. So it is important that we say, well, what did you replace them with? Wow, that's even more remarkable. The Baghdad government is a Shia-led government. 80% of the leadership in Baghdad have been in exile where? In Iran, when Saddam was targeting them. And when you get rid of Saddam, who did you bring into power? The Shia-led government.
Into the vacuum.
The vacuum was filled by them, and because they're the majority in Iraq, they have no representation in government. But it's an interesting case because the US led to pro-Iranian government allies being created in Afghanistan, and in Iran.